Hey everyone, welcome back to more political chatter. So we are doing a 2024 election prediction between Joe Biden and Corey Stapleton. And Corey Stapleton has actually formed an exploratory committee. He has said that he is testing the waters to run for president in 2024. So he really is kind of our first candidate, our first person who are pretty, almost pretty certain that is going to run. I mean, sure, we pretty certain that Trump's going to run, but Corey Stapleton has gone this far to form an exploratory committee. Now, I know you think, who's Corey Stapleton? Corey Stapleton is the former Attorney General of the state of Montana, so not very well known at all, not a very high position, and really name recognition is going to hurt him a lot in this election. That it really is. It's going to hurt him so much, and he's not someone like Trump or Cruz or Rubio, in 2016, who had this high name recognition. He's just this guy named Corey Stapleton, who comes from the state of Montana. So let's get into this election prediction. So I do think that Joe Biden would win California and Washington, Hawaii, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maine's first, all safe. And then Corey Stapleton, name recognition really will hurt him, especially among independents. I mean, Republicans, they hate Joe Biden so much because he's so unpopular. They hate him so much that they're going to turn out for Corey Stapleton. But independents, not so much. They don't know anything about this guy, He's just Corey Stapleton. So name recognition really will hurt him. So I do think that Oregon would be solid. I think that New Jersey would be solid. But going over to the state of Connecticut, I see Corey Stapleton appealing to this more well-off middle class a bit more than progressive independents in Oregon or New Jersey. So safe states for Corey Stapleton would be Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, his home state, North and South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska at large, Nebraska's first, Nebraska's third. Now, their position on Trump, that is always a huge factor, and I should have pointed it out already. So Corey Stapleton stood behind Trump during his presidency. He wasn't a flip-flopper, and he wasn't anti-Trump. He stood with him, but he did not support Trump when Trump said that the election was rigged. All right, he said that the election was, authentic, or authentic is kind of like a bad word. I don't know, but he did not think that the election was rigged, essentially. So that I really don't think that will hurt him too much among Trumpian Republicans. I do think that they would still turn out for him just because he is anti-Biden. Obviously he doesn't like Biden because he's running against him. And yeah, so let's go into some closer states. So South Carolina would be likely. Alaska, I see returning to the solid column because they didn't, went solidly for Mitt Romney in 2012. And of course, Stapleton is very much a traditional conservative. He really is. And but still not a lot of name recognition. Going down to Texas, I don't think that Biden has much here with him being extremely unpopular. I don't think that he has enough momentum to win the state. And then, let's see, going to Virginia, this is where name recognition really will hurt him in these Democratic states, and states with a lot of independents. That's where name recognition is really going to hit him hard. So I think that Virginia would stay likely for the president, President Biden. And going over to Iowa and Ohio, I think that Corey Stapleton would be able to win both of these states. He doesn't have as strong of an appeal as Trump did, but I see him connecting with rural voters in the state of Iowa. I do think that the state of Iowa will be likely. That will be his strong suit. The Midwest, the rural votes in Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Minnesota, Iowa. This is where his strong suit is, and that's why I should say that for Texas also. He will do very well among rural voters, especially in the Midwest, but still in states like Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, you name it, New Hampshire, whatever. So I do think that Ohio would be lean just because he doesn't have as much appeal here as Trump did in 2016. In 2020, really, with making jobs and making America great again. So, yeah. And then going to Nebraska. Second, again, another Midwestern state. I think that with Biden being unpopular, I think that this would be a lean Stapleton, one electoral vote. All right, let's go up to Maine second. A very rural district. I think that Corey Stapleton would be able to win with his rural appeal. I think that this would be a lean margin, and probably likely actually. And then going to Maine at large, I would have to stay with Biden by probably a lean margin. Then going up to the state of New Hampshire, there are a lot of independents in the state of New Hampshire, but it is a rural state, a pretty rural state. We have to remember that. And and there are a lot of Democrats still. This is where Corey Stapleton not being well known will hurt him. I mean, if we have someone like Corey Stapleton who is very popular in the rural areas, then they would win it. But Corey Stapleton is just so unknown that I do think that it would stay with Biden. I think it's going to be pretty close, though. I would give it to Biden by a lean margin. Yes, I'm sorry, not lean, tilt margin. Sorry. But I think that Corey Stapleton would come very close in the state of New Hampshire. And then going down south, I think that Corey Stapleton would be able to win, not really energize that Trump base, but appeal to them. I think that they would turn out for him, essentially. So I do think that Florida would stay lean, North Carolina would stay lean, and Georgia would go tilt Stapleton, and he would probably campaign down here as well. Georgia's a flip. And then going to New Mexico and Colorado, I don't see him having much of, yeah, he probably does. Yeah, I'm going to make Colorado likely just because this is a pretty progressive state, and Corey Stapleton wouldn't just, really wouldn't energize a lot of people in the state of Colorado because it is very progressive also. And then New Mexico would be lean. But going over to Arizona and Nevada, I think that this is where Corey Stapleton will excel. Arizona sure has a lot of independents, but I'll probably be lean if we're being realistic here because it is shifting left. So both of these states would be lean, I believe. He has an appeal in these rural areas that will help him a whole lot in these two states. And, he comes from a kind, sort of, well, I guess that doesn't matter. But Trump lost Arizona and Nevada, but he lost Arizona because of his, he lost both states mainly because he was not traditional conservative. He was not a traditional conservative. Corey Stapleton more so is. So I do think that he would take back both of these states. And now we just have the blue wall plus Minnesota. I think that Minnesota will be very close. I think that this will be lean Biden. I think that Corey Stapleton will have a major Midwest appeal here. I think that he would come very close to winning the state. And, again, he doesn't have that Make America Great Again appeal. And that will hurt him a lot. So I do think that state of Michigan by a tilt margin would go to Joe Biden. But then again, he will turn out Republicans, and the fact of the matter is, Biden won't energize Democrats, as he did in 2020. He just won't because of his unpopularity. So I think that the state of Pennsylvania by a tilt margin would go to Corey Stapleton, but probably by lean margin, another Midwestern state, Corey Stapleton will be able to carry the state of Wisconsin. So Corey Stapleton beats Joe Biden with 298 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 240. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I will see you all next time.